Luckily, they tracked clues like detectives, found Pablo's financial office, caught his accountant, and seized piles of transaction records like a movie scene. These evidences popped Pablo's secrets, and the drug police uncovered a major one. An American CIA pilot actually delivered 500 kilograms of drugs to Pablo, like a very bad takeout order at a site. Under treason threat, he revealed Pablo's key drug lab. The op even mobilized U.S. Special Forces in Action Blockbuster. They caught Ramon, Pablo's trusted partner, extradited him to the U.S., facing 135 years in prison. At this point, the drug dealers felt nervous for the first time and looked to Pablo. After all, the U.S. is scarier than death, and they want a whole lot more. So, brothers, what are we going to give them? I think, late-night snacks. Pablo found the Colombian guerrillas and urged them to go make an entrance at Congress. All weapons were provided by Pablo, promising $2 million as encouragement upon success. Such generosity. The war sparked by drug lords officially began in Colombia, with guerrilla attacks causing hundreds of deaths of real blood. Half of Colombia's judges ended up dead, and as they retreated, they made sure to burn everything. Talk about a cleanup crew. Later, Pablo fulfilled his promise and handed over $2 million, but he never promised them a safe trip home. Colombian drug lords sure know how to party. The cops just approached to check, but it quickly turned into a squirt gun battle, and someone quickly relayed the news to the boss while Pablo focused on counting the casualties. Pablo used this method to deal with the police, and even better, he handed out guns to kids in the slums to talk about the biggest weapons. In just a few months, hundreds of police met there, and this way the death toll was so absurd that the government set up a temporary cooling house. Of course, the drug lords had their share of foes. Colonel Tavos was their biggest headache, forming a raiding party that would never accept bribes. Samuel's family due to drug lords. One day, U.S. undercover cops Lone Gatcha, Pablo's key aide, hid on an island. So, Cavallo led a team to catch them all, and there was an intense gun battle between the raiders and the drug lords, but Gatcha was no pushover. He directly counterattacked with a rocket launcher, almost sending Cavallo flying to another dimension. He seized the chance to flee with his son. Raiders chased in a car but were riddled by Gatcha's gun. He crashed through and sped off. At this point, he was blissfully basking in his escape, not realizing that there were chasers from above. Inside the helicopter were U.S. undercover cops. The machine gunners opened fire, but the father and son emerged unscathed. Gatcha even shot back at the helicopter, turning it into an action flick. The helicopter switched directions to play with fire, and while the shooting was fine, his precious son mysteriously disappeared in the car. Gatcha completely lost it. The raiding party spared no mercy, as Gatcha was left with his face decorated in rockets. Let's just say, it was not a pretty scene. This was the biggest victory for the raiding party, boosting the president's popularity. He even signed an extradition treaty with the U.S., and because of this, Pablo decided to take the drug war to new heights by hiring a bomb expert, true midnight ram. This guy was once a member of the Spanish terrorist group ATA, turning former Spanish prime ministers and kings into dust with his bombs. He carefully hid a bomb in a radio, and this time his assassination target was none other than the Colombian president, a real trickster. Pablo found a well-meaning person and falsely claimed he had a chance for him to make big bucks, asking him to record politicians' conversations on a plane. It sounded like a real business opportunity. Little did he know, this was a no-return mission. The next day, Pablo's men handed in the bomb box. The man didn't think twice before lining up to board, while the president was secured by U.S. undercover cops. What a timely rescue. The undercover cops tracked Pablo's men and found them frequently meeting a mysterious foreigner. Talk about sharp eyes. Although they couldn't prove that his target was the president, since he was linked to Pablo, they needed to be extra cautious. So the president decided to skip this flight, and when the underlings saw him leave, it was already too late. The explosion led to 107 civilian accidents. Pablo went from hero to terrorist in the blink of an eye, and the government immediately sought revenge, with Tavos storming into Pablo's drug lab. Though no key figures caught, Pablo still took a big hit, erecting a tall building downtown. After all, this didn't weaken the government's resolve to crack down on drug lords. Instead, it led the CIA to monitor the city round the clock. Pablo realized these politicians didn't care about the common people, so he decided to change tactics and kidnap their families. He spoke the truth and also kidnapped influential people, hoping to make the government beg him to negotiate. However, the president promptly rejected his terms, which unexpectedly enraged Pablo. Upon receiving news of the negotiations' collapse, Pablo, with sheer audacity, ordered his men to murder a congressman's daughter and exhibit her corpse at the entrance of the congressional building. Truly ruthless and without any qualms. He then targeted a famous TV host, the former president's daughter, and the next day, the president received a shocking video. The former president and wife demanded act with Pablo or no Congress resolutions. They told the president, "We need to do this our way, not let you take my kid." Faced with pressure, the president knew time was running out, so he sent assistants to delay and find Pablo's lawyer. Meanwhile, the CIA surveillance plane swiftly tracked down the house where the reporter was being held. Things were getting a bit tense. The hitman hid him in a closet, while Cavallo cleaned up all the drug lords and unintentionally killed the former president's daughter while taking out the last guard. This incident caused a massive uproar, and the president faced unprecedented pressure. It was time to admit they lost this war. unwilling to accept any help, while Pablo, like a victor, celebrated with champagne and water revelry. A month later, he would turn himself in and enjoy prison life in the jail he built himself. The biggest disappointment for the US was that they wouldn't be able to stop the flow of drugs this way. They could only get rid of the source. If they couldn't catch him, they'd hit him hardest. That night, Pablo's house got a surprise bomb after the romance.